Hi, everybody, and welcome to an episode of GTD in real life. And today I'm pleased to have Steve Lane along with me. Steve is a cybersecurity expert who works here in the UK and works with his main employer, which is Thales UK, to run and protect the train systems, the underground and the train systems here in and around London. And he also does advisory work for the UK government on cybersecurity. He's so well educated, I can't even pronounce all the things that he's done. He's currently doing a MSc in cybersecurity, and his vision is a world where it's safe, a digital world in which it's safe to go out and play on the web. So with that, Steve, over to you. Do you have anything else that you would say by way of introduction of yourself?
No, I would say that's a great introduction, and thank you very much for introducing me. And I mean, cybersecurity is just something that's always been with me ever since I was a child. It's just something I'm passionate about, and I don't think it's going away. I think the problem that we have is only getting bigger, and so if I had one dying wish, it would be that the world is a safer place than when I started out doing this, which was some 25 years ago now.
Wow. Well, we should do a different episode on cybersecurity because it's fascinating stuff, and I assume that you're some version of spook, and you can't tell me what it is that you do, but we'll do that some other day.
There are some aspects of what I do that I cannot talk about, as you can imagine.
Yeah, of course. But we're here to talk about the thing that brought us together, actually, which was GTD. So why don't we kick off with that, like your story? What was happening before you found GTD? What happened when you found it, and what are you experiencing now?
So way back, actually, now I think 2012, 2013, I was working as a cybersecurity consultant for National Grid in their internal consultancy team, focusing on electricity systems and gas systems and what's called operational technology and all that kind of stuff. And a situation arose where my boss was off sick, and also a colleague was off sick. And instead of me handling the normal sort of 10, 15 projects, which was fairly normal for that consultant, I ended up with 72 projects. And I've never in my life felt so much overwhelm. And I just was. I was either gonna freak out and end up off sick from work myself, or I needed to find some way of managing all that workload, which led me to good old Google and Googling around for productivity systems and going, there must be a better way of managing this, and I came across GTD, and then it's not a big leap, to be honest, to make that leap between GTD and your own company, Next Action Consultants. So that then led me to go, you know what? I don't care how busy I am at the moment. I need to find out about that, and I need to go on a training course. I got the book, which is behind me, and it's not. I got the book. I read the book. I went, yeah. But actually, I need somebody to help me do that. So that's how we ended up meeting. And if I remember rightly, that must have been about sort of the end of 2013, beginning of 2014, about that time.
Great. And so you were in a bit of a pickle, just work-wise, with the amount of volume that you had. You came on the course, and then what happened?
Well, we had some interesting discussions in the course. I remember about the fact that it wasn't just work as well that was driving me nuts. That I'd been living in my house for 2 years and I've not yet unpacked it. So I tell you what happened afterwards is that I dealt with backlog, and I actually started to unpack my house and some of the boxes that have been hanging around. And I then stepped back and I literally went for it and implemented the GTD system in anger. I just stopped managing all the projects that I was managing, the 72 projects, and just said, I need to put a big pause in here. And I went through the whole process of getting the paper filing sorted out, the labeler and all that kind of thing, the whole lot that we've talked about. and went through the whole system and created the whole system, set it all up. At that time, it was set up in Microsoft Outlook, but it was also set up in paper as well. And I remember you saying on the course about the sense of relief that you get to feel when you have a complete understanding of all the tasks and and a complete catalog of everything that you need to deal with. And I have to say, I really did feel that. I really felt that sort of, oh, okay, it's a hell of a lot of work, but I'm in control, and that's good.
Cool, cool. And benefits you're experiencing or have experienced in your work? Let's start with your work.
Well, I went on after that to, not long after I was on that training course, to get promoted. So I actually would say that GTD is responsible for me progressing quite rapidly in my career. I hold a very senior role right now, and I've progressed over the decade in each role. And I have a reputation for being able to handle a very high workload, which is kind of handy today, because I tell you that I have a very high workload, but I don't just have one job, I have two jobs too. So the output of it is that I've been less stressed. I've felt in control of what I'm doing, and I'm able to really do the right thing at the right moment, and I'm able to handle a really high workload, and really sort of rattle through the tasks to make sure that the task that I'm doing is the right task at that moment for for whatever reason that is. And that's not always about priority. That's sometimes about your energy levels, and about the resources that you've got to hand to get things done.
Great. And in your personal life, because I know you have a pretty rich and full personal life alongside your professional responsibilities.
Yeah, so in my personal life, I'd say one of the things that fell out of the result of doing GTD was looking at the higher levels and thinking at a sort of like vision and purpose and values and all that kind of stuff. And that made me sit back and think about what I really wanted to get out of life, and the sort of philosophy and everything that I really wanted to live my life by. And partly, I have to say, that was responsible for me ending up adopting two children. So I have two adopted children. So just sort of having that framework that once you kind of dealt with all the stuff that's coming at you on the runway level, just having that framework that allowed you to sit back and think, why am I here? Why am I doing this? Then has led me to do different things, to do things that I probably would have never contemplated before, including sort of adopting kids.
Great stuff. Great. The other thing I know about you from contact with you over the last few months since we reconnected is that you're pretty ruthless around protecting your personal time as well, which I think is fabulous, and is one of the main benefits of having a complete system outside of your head, is just how quickly you can say it's okay to stop now.
Yeah, and that is a great thing, is that you know when you're done. And in fact, the thing is, the problem with being a knowledge worker is that the pile just gets bigger. And, I mean, if I have a look at my GTD system right now, I can tell you that I have got just in the day job, I've got 44 actions across 24 projects. When am I done? Right. So I could say I'm done when I've done all of those, but actually the pile just gets bigger. So the really nice thing is knowing that actually you can walk away. You don't need to think about this stuff at night. You just know that is enough. You're done. Yeah, sure, there's a new day and there's things to tackle for the new day, but it's just having that clarity of mind and then being able to protect your time. And I work very long hours sometimes, but I'm making that conscious effort. When I work long hours, it's not because I'm feeling overwhelmed or stressed. It's because I'm making a conscious effort to get things done, to get stuff done, because I know that I need to get stuff done, because maybe I have some deadlines. Maybe I just feel like I want to get it done. But then also as well, there's the opposite of when you go, it's fine. I can just walk away. I can leave that behind.
Cool. So you're looking at your system. What is the system that you use?
So I'm a Mac user. I use OmniFocus. I've tried many different pieces of software. Initially, as I said, I set it up. I set GTD up in Outlook, and it was pretty good. And I was fine with it in Outlook for a long time. But I found that for me, OmniFocus is the best software that works for me. And I have a pretty complex system that doesn't just look at runway kind of stuff, but also looks at the higher levels and make sure that, for example, when I've got goals at sort of like Horizon 3, that I'm actually taking actions on those goals and things. So I don't think I could manage that without that system. And the great thing, of course, is that it all synchronizes with my mobile phone and with my iPad. And that means that, for example, the chores, the honey-do list, I only have to look on my phone when I'm out to remember that I've got to go buy some batteries. I think that was the example you gave me all those years away.
That's true. That's true. Okay, so OmniFocus it is. And what would you say is the most valuable thing that you've taken away from GTD for your life?
I think the most valuable thing is to be in the moment and to just focus on what you need to do right now and not worry that you're actually missing something. So for me, the stress relieving aspect of GTD is knowing that what I'm doing right now is the right thing to do and I don't need to worry about anything else. And that doesn't mean that I don't plan the future. That doesn't mean that I haven't got goals. That doesn't mean that I don't think about all the steps that's necessary to achieve a 12-month goal or something. But it means that actually all I have to do is worry about what's on my plate right now and be in the moment and be present. And I think that's just one of the benefits of GTD that I think people don't necessarily realize straight off, is that it just really helps you with that sense of well-being. It definitely helps your mental health because you know what you're doing right now is the right thing and you're in the moment.
Great stuff. I mean, I've heard. I mean, GTD is not mindfulness, but I have heard it described as an enabler of mindful living, which is yeah, very cool. And I love the way you described that. There is a creative tension there between holding long-term goals and also being able to stay in the moment with what's happening right now. Yeah, that there's a lot of energy in that. So if you look at your projects list, I can't remember what you said, 24 projects.
20. Well, that's just for the company. I mean, if I have a look across all of my projects at the moment, I've got so many different areas of focus and areas of different of responsibilities. And if I just look at sort of like runway stuff, I mean, I've got 55 actions across 36 projects in that, which is just stuff that's not necessarily work related, but is personal stuff and everything. But that could be anything from go buy a fuse in B&Q, you know what I mean, to the big stuff. And
your favorite one in the mix?
The favorite one, the thing I'm enjoying the most at the moment is that I'm managing to do a master's degree. I've started this MSc in Advanced Cybersecurity and Digital Forensics at Edinburgh Napier University. And of course, there's a whole bunch of tasks about that. There's a bigger goal, of course, of achieving the whole MSc, but that's then broken down into modules, and that modules are then broken down into what are the things that I actually need to get done right now, like for my exam that's on Friday.
Very good, very good. So, I know you've got a couple of kids, you've got a few dogs. What do you do with your spare time when you're not working?
When I have to say that my spare time, when I'm not working, I obviously don't track in this system. But I do the typical thing that anybody does. You go play with your kids, you go kick a football, you go out for a run, you go walk your dogs, you spend some time with your wife and all that kind of thing. And that's just life outside, I guess, of sort of managing what is a very high workload. I mean, as I said, I mean, I'm doing a master's degree. I have a day job, and I also have another advisory role, a second job, if you like, as well. So there's a lot going on, and it's important to carve that time out as well to have that personal time. So again, something that I think GTD helps me to do.
Cool. And has it impacted the way you work with other people? I don't know if you're running a team or if you're working on a team, but how has GTD impacted your
I'll be
work
running
with?
a team when I can get the budget to hire people. I'm still, the pandemic has obviously impacted a lot of businesses, and the rail industry is no different to that. So the situation is different. I have to say, I have never really used GTD with a team, other than people know that I use GTD, and so people will ask me, "How do I get this into your inbox?" OmniFocus has a cloud-based system where you can actually email a task to your inbox. So it's not. My wife has that email address. She does sometimes send stuff into it. So I guess that's working with other people, but that's not necessarily working with a team. I've never used it to manage a whole team. I have used things like natural planning model to do project work and to plan projects and things like that with a team before. But currently in what I'm doing at the minute, certainly the people that my boss and also someone who's my primary customer knows that I use that system, and it's been discussed quite a bit. And they tend to stick stuff into my inbox. They tend to send me stuff and tell me to stick it in my inbox to get it done.
Very good, very good. So one of the things that for a lot of people is the last piece of the puzzle to fall into place is the weekly review. So any tips, anything that you find is helpful for making that a kind of rock solid habit?
Schedule it in the diary and always do it. Yeah, I've heard people say to me, I had a conversation some years ago with someone who said GTD takes too much time. And I don't, I tried to implement it, but I stopped doing it because it was just taking too much time. And I'd argue actually that by sitting back and doing the weekly review, you are more focused and you're able to get more done per hour than if you hadn't done it. So I would say, make sure that you make time for it, schedule it in the diary, shut the door, turn off the phone, and really focus upon it and give it a good dedicated couple of hours to go through is my top tip. I'm lucky working at home that I don't have so many interruptions because my office is detached from the main house. But I do still have, actually, from your course, I'm sure it's from your course, like a hotel coat hanger thing, like the thing saying do not disturb because I'm sleeping. There's like a do not disturb because I'm doing GTD review. And I used to use that when I was in the office. So when I was in the office, I would hang that on the back of my chair and say, guys, just I'm busy. Please don't interrupt. Or I'd go somewhere else away from the normal working place to get it done.
Yeah, I think when you say an hour or two, and everybody has to find that out for themselves what's right. But if you say that to somebody and what they hear is a time cost, then it's really, really hard for them to find that time. If they see it as a time investment, which you get to after you've done it for a while, it's really clear that I'm saving myself 6 or 8 hours next week and the week after, because I'm seeing things that I need to see now in order to get ahead of them blowing up later. So once it's kind of established as an investment that pays 500% return, it's not all that difficult to do, but it takes a while to get there.
That's the point that I was making, is that by doing that, the output that you generate is so much more effective. The number of tasks you do per hour, if you like, the output per hour, your productivity just increases massively by being really clear about what it is that you need to get done and when you need to get it done. And that comes out of having that review. Going through all of your projects, I go through every single project to make sure that anything that has been done definitely gets ticked off. I make sure that every project has an action associated with it, or if the project actually doesn't have an action associated with it, then it either goes on hold or it's complete. Yeah, and that just helps clarity. And that means that when I come to sit down and really sort of crack on with things, I really know what it is that I want to get done, and I just charge through it.
Cool. One final question. What's your favorite thing on your someday maybe list?
So let's have a look on what's on my someday maybe list. Let's have a look. So I've got a few things on here. Learn to sea kayak and plan a long distance trip. Walk the Devon and Cornwall coastal path. Follow your dreams and learn how to be a documentary film and photographer at Newport University. Build an off-road camper and explore the world, living off-grid, and do a PhD in security. And so I guess I won't do all of those, but it's just nice to be able to sit back and think about all of that kind of stuff. I think the thing that I probably really would is the most favorite thing on there. I'd look at it all the time. I'd love to walk the Devon and Cornwall coastal path. I think it's probably the most beautiful part of the UK, and I keep walking sections of it every time I go down to Cornwall on holiday. And at one point in my life, I need to link it all up and do the whole lot in one go. It's some 680 miles or something, and it would be a fantastic walk.
Wow, that would be what, a month?
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice to just take it a little bit slower than that, though, because the scenery in the place and everything, you know, the nice thing with the career that I do is it's quite possible sometimes to take sort of like longer periods off. I mean, at one point I took a fair amount of time off and sailed across the Atlantic. So it will happen. I just think it's probably better when my kids are a little bit older. They're still quite young at the moment. And once they've grown up a little bit, I'll take that opportunity to go and do that.
Great stuff. Great stuff. Well, thanks, Stephen, for coming along and
You're
sharing
welcome.
your experience. And yeah, we'll look forward to seeing you in real life sometime soon.
I hope so.
Take care.
Thank you.